Imagine this. Prices all around you are going up. Food, gas, clothes. Your wallet feels lighter every single day. But at the same time, businesses are shutting down, investments are drying up, and finding a job is harder than ever. This isn't just inflation, and it's not just a crisis. It's a deadly combo economists call stagflation. Stagflation is one of the scariest scenarios an economy can face. In this video, we'll break down what it really means in simple words, why stagflation happens, how it has looked throughout history, why it's dangerous for all of us, and most importantly, how countries can escape this economic trap. By the end of this video, you'll understand why the word stagflation makes governments and investors so nervous. The word stagflation is made up of two parts: stagnation, when the economy grinds to a halt, GDP stops growing, businesses don't expand, and wages stay flat. Inflation, when prices rise. The same goods cost more, and your money buys you less and less. Usually, these two things happen separately. During a recession, demand falls, prices go down. During a boom, people spend more, the economy grows, and prices rise along with it. But with stagflation, we face a paradox. Prices keep climbing even while the economy is standing still, or worse, shrinking. Here's an analogy. Imagine a person with both a high fever and very low blood pressure. Medicine that helps one condition makes the other worse. That's exactly what stagflation is, but on the scale of an entire economy. The term stagflation first appeared in the United Kingdom in 1965, but the whole world really came to know it in the 1970s. That's when the so-called oil crisis hit. Middle Eastern countries suddenly cut oil exports and prices skyrocketed, 4 times higher almost overnight. What did that mean in practice? Gasoline became more expensive, transportation costs went up, and that pushed the price of almost every product higher. Factories were forced to cut production because fuel and raw materials were just too costly. Businesses shut down. People lost their jobs. And there it was, classic stagflation. Prices climbing while the economy stood still. In the US, inflation soared to nearly 15%, and unemployment hit the highest levels in decades. In Europe, governments introduced energy rationing. They even limited the use of cars to save fuel. Stagflation doesn't just appear out of nowhere. There are a few key causes. 1. Supply shocks. That's when the cost of an essential resource suddenly jumps. In the 1970s, it was oil. In 2022 to 2023, it was energy and grain because of the war in Ukraine. When the basics get more expensive, the rest of the economy follows. 2. Policy mistakes. Sometimes central banks print money to stimulate the economy. But if there aren't more goods being produced, just more money in circulation, prices go up. The economy doesn't recover, but inflation takes off. 3. External crises. COVID-19 showed us this clearly. When factories in China or India shut down, the world faces shortages. Fewer goods plus the same amount of money equals higher prices. 4. People's expectations. If everyone believes prices will rise, they start buying ahead of time. Businesses raise prices too. This creates inflation even in a weak economy. Here's a simple example. Imagine you know gas prices will go up tomorrow. What do you do today? You fill up your tank. Now, if millions of people do the same thing, prices will spike even faster. So how can you tell if a country is in stagflation? There are a few clear signs. GDP is barely growing or even shrinking. Prices are rising fast. Inflation hits double digits, 10, 15, even 20%. Unemployment is higher than normal. Businesses stop investing. Even if money is available, nobody wants to take the risk. People are getting poorer. Wages can't keep up with prices, and savings lose their value. The main danger of stagflation is that the usual economic tools just don't work. Normally, if inflation rises, the central bank raises interest rates to slow down prices. If there's a recession, it lowers rates to stimulate business. But with stagflation, no matter what the government does, solving one problem makes the other worse. For example, raise interest rates, loans become expensive, businesses struggle even more. Lower interest rates, more money in circulation, inflation rises even faster. That's why stagflation is sometimes called economic hell. Getting out of stagflation is difficult and takes time. Here's what governments do. Monetary policy. The central bank gradually raises interest rates to rein in inflation. Fiscal policy. The government invests not in consumption, but in production, infrastructure, and technology. Reforms. Countries reduce dependence on a single resource. After the oil crisis, Europe invested heavily in alternative energy. Productivity. Innovations, education, and energy efficiency, anything that allows producing more without extra costs. Here's an example from the US. In the 1980s, Paul Volcker, head of the Federal Reserve, raised interest rates to 20%. This caused a short but deep recession, but it stopped inflation, and over time, the US economy recovered. Could stagflation happen again today? After the COVID-19 pandemic, the topic of stagflation came back into discussion. Supply chains were disrupted. Energy prices are rising. The war in Ukraine has affected the prices of gas, grain, and metals. In many countries, inflation has surpassed 10%, while economic growth has slowed down. Is this a repeat of the 1970s? Not exactly. Today, the economy is globalized, technology evolves faster, and central banks act more decisively. But the risks remain, because stagflation isn't just a story from textbooks. It's a real threat that can happen anytime during global instability. So, stagflation is when the economy stands still, prices keep rising, and jobs become scarce. It's an economic trap that requires tough and sometimes painful decisions. Think of it as a survival test for the economy. It shattered old economic theories and changed policy in the 1970s. And today, we can see again that the world isn't immune to this scenario. But understanding the history and mechanics of stagflation helps us make sense of the news and make smarter financial decisions for ourselves. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Here we break down economics so that everyone can understand it.